Musashi didn't live by rigid rules, but by principles that guided him through both battle and life. For many, Musashi embodies the strict, almost harsh discipline required to become great at any craft. Yet, contrary to popular belief, Musashi's approach to discipline was not about rigid routines or forcing oneself into an unyielding structure. His life was defined by flexibility, adaptability, and a deep sense of self-awareness. In today's fast-paced world, many of us are conditioned to believe that discipline means an unyielding grind, a relentless push towards success at any cost. This idea is reinforced by countless motivational slogans about hustling and grinding, urging us to force ourselves through every obstacle, no matter how we feel. We've come to view discipline as synonymous with sticking to rigid routines, waking up at 5 a.m. every day, working tirelessly, and making endless sacrifices. While this approach can work for some, it often leads to burnout, frustration, and disappointment when the results we expect don't come as quickly as we hoped. This modern approach to discipline treats it as something external, a kind of brutal, self-imposed regimen that, if followed to the letter, will eventually yield success. But the problem with this is clear. Life is unpredictable. Situations change, obstacles arise that we can't control, and the human mind and body have limits. The more we push without taking into account our needs, circumstances, or well-being, the more likely we are to crash rather than break through to the next level. Unlike the rigid, almost punishing version of discipline that many of us subscribe to, Musashi's philosophy was about adaptability. For him, discipline didn't mean following a strict routine or always pushing through fatigue and pain. Instead, it was about cultivating an awareness of the present moment and knowing how to respond to the changing conditions around you. Musashi didn't live by rigid rules, but by principles that guided him through both battle and life. He understood that to achieve mastery, you had to be flexible, not just physically, but mentally. This flexibility is a key part of what made him one of Japan's most undefeated swordsmen. He knew when to strike, when to retreat, and when to change his strategy altogether. In his famous text, The Book of Five Rings, Musashi discusses the importance of perceiving reality clearly without letting emotion or preconceived ideas cloud judgment. This mindset allowed him to adjust his actions in real time, adapting to whatever his opponent or the situation demanded. To Musashi, discipline wasn't about forcing a particular outcome or adhering to a specific path at all costs. It was about remaining present, aware, and ready to adjust as needed. His discipline came from his ability to stay true to his purpose, not from clinging to a fixed routine. One of the key insights from Musashi's philosophy is the idea that discipline is not just about pushing forward, but also about knowing when to let go. Many of us see giving up or adjusting course as a sign of weakness, but Musashi teaches us that true strength lies in adaptability. He didn't view discipline as the ability to relentlessly pursue one goal at all costs, but as the wisdom to change course when necessary. For Musashi, sticking rigidly to a plan could lead to failure if the conditions changed. In battle, as in life, things rarely go according to plan. Instead of fighting reality, Musashi's approach was to flow with it. When a tactic wasn't working, he would change his strategy on the spot. This ability to adapt made him nearly invincible. His discipline wasn't about stubbornness, but about clarity and flexibility. This approach applies not just to combat, but to all aspects of life. Sometimes, we need to recognize that our routines or goals aren't serving us, and we must be willing to let them go. Whether it's a job that no longer fulfills us, a relationship that's become toxic, or a habit that's draining rather than energizing, Musashi's teaching encourages us to stay true to our deeper purpose and values rather than rigidly clinging to what no longer works. Discipline should always be rooted in a clear sense of purpose. Before setting goals or routines, ask yourself what you're ultimately trying to achieve. Are you pursuing a goal that genuinely matters to you, or are you doing it because you think you should? Discipline becomes much easier when it's aligned with a deeper purpose. Miyamoto Musashi's teachings on self-discipline offer a profound yet practical framework for building a life of mastery, grounded in self-awareness and adaptability. His unique perspective challenges many of the rigid ideas we hold about discipline today and provides a more fluid, sustainable approach. Let's delve into 4 key lessons from Musashi's life, exploring how they can help us develop a form of discipline that actually works in real life. 1. Know when to push and when to adjust. In our modern world, discipline is often synonymous with pushing ourselves to the limit, regardless of the circumstances. We hear phrases like, no pain, no gain, and are taught that success comes from unwavering effort, no matter the cost. While perseverance is certainly important, Musashi understood that there's a time to push and a time to adjust. Musashi's mastery in swordsmanship was not just a result of endless practice or sheer force of will. It was a result of his deep understanding of timing, strategy, and adaptability. In battle, Musashi knew that blindly pushing forward could lead to defeat. Instead, he practiced the art of adjusting to circumstances in real time, assessing his opponent's strengths and weaknesses and shifting his approach accordingly. This principle extended beyond combat. Musashi knew that life, like battle, is unpredictable, and that rigidly adhering to a plan when circumstances change can lead to failure. In our own lives, this means understanding that discipline isn't about pushing ourselves beyond our limits all the time. It's about having the wisdom to recognize when a particular approach isn't working and the flexibility to change direction. 2. Be present and aware. One of the most overlooked aspects of discipline is the role of mental clarity and presence. Musashi's success wasn't solely the result of physical prowess or sheer willpower. It was largely due to his exceptional mental discipline. He was known for being fully present in every situation, whether during a high-stakes duel or during periods of quiet reflection. Being present allowed Musashi to make quick, clear-headed decisions in the heat of battle. His ability to remain calm and focused, even when facing overwhelming odds, gave him an edge over opponents who were clouded by fear, anxiety, or haste. This presence of mind extended to his everyday life as well. Musashi was a keen observer of the world around him, always aware of his environment and mindful of his own thoughts and emotions. In the context of self-discipline, being present and aware means cultivating mindfulness. Instead of getting lost in distractions or acting on autopilot, being present allows us to assess each moment clearly. It helps us recognize when we're veering off course, when we're acting out of habit rather than intention, and when we need to make adjustments. This awareness is critical in building a discipline that works because it enables us to stay aligned with our goals and values rather than getting swept up in fleeting impulses or external pressures. A simple way to practice this principle in daily life is through mindfulness exercises, such as meditation or deep breathing, which train the mind to stay focused on the present. The more we can cultivate this mental discipline, the better equipped we are to navigate challenges with calm and clarity, making decisions that support our long-term goals. 3. Develop a discipline of consistency, not perfection. Many people think that discipline is about executing routines or habits flawlessly, day in and day out. But Musashi's teachings remind us that true discipline is not about perfection, it's about consistency. Musashi's life was one of constant practice, learning, and refinement. He didn't expect perfection from himself, but he committed to a disciplined way of life that valued steady, incremental progress over time. This idea can be transformative when it comes to building habits and routines. Instead of beating ourselves up for missing a workout, skipping a meditation session, or making mistakes at work, we can shift our focus toward maintaining consistency over the long run. The key to building self-discipline isn't adhering to an impossible standard of perfection, it's showing up day after day and doing the work, even when we don't feel like it and even when we fall short. In practical terms, this might look like forgiving yourself when you slip up and then getting back on track the next day. It's about focusing on the long game and recognizing that small, consistent steps will lead to significant results over time. Whether it's learning a new skill, building a business, or improving your health, the discipline of consistency is far more sustainable and ultimately more effective than the pursuit of perfection. 4. Focus on the process, not just the outcome. Another core aspect of Musashi's teachings is the importance of focusing on the process rather than the outcome. Musashi didn't view life as a series of goals to be checked off. Instead, he saw life as an ongoing practice, where each moment and experience was an opportunity for growth. This mindset allowed him to remain committed to his craft without becoming overly fixated on the end result. In the realm of self-discipline, this means shifting our focus from obsessing over outcomes, like hitting a specific weight, earning a certain amount of money, or achieving a particular status, to embracing the process of growth and learning. When we're too focused on outcomes, we tend to become frustrated when progress is slow or when we don't see immediate results. This can lead to discouragement, making it harder to stay disciplined. However, when we focus on the process itself, discipline becomes less about reaching a specific goal and more about the daily habits and actions that move us in the right direction. This shift in perspective allows us to enjoy the journey even when it's challenging, because we recognize that each step we take is valuable in its own right. For example, if your goal is to write a book, instead of fixating on the final product, you could focus on the daily habit of writing, whether it's 500 words a day or 30 minutes of focused work. Over time, this process-oriented mindset will lead you to your goal, but more importantly, it will make the journey more fulfilling and less stressful. Musashi's life teaches us that by committing to the process, we naturally build the habits and mindset needed to succeed.